Hi there. If you're running a trucking company, you should already know that compliance is not just about driving safe and passing inspections. It's about fines, filing taxes, it's about filing reports, and it's about meeting up with deadlines that never seem to end. Now, here's the thing. FMCSA and your states require you to file certain reports. And trust me, missing just one of these reports can cost you a lot of headache. We are talking about fines, we're talking about your authority being suspended or you being placed out of business entirely. Now, here's the good news. When you know these reports to file, when you know the taxes to file, there is really not much complications about it. What you just have to do is to take note of the taxes, take note of the reports you're filing, and then you're good to go. I'm Joy, your compliance guide. I help trucking companies, drivers, carriers, owner-operators, and dispatchers to stay compliant with FMCSA regulations, to stay compliant on the road. While you drive, while you run your company, I help you do the compliance, right? So this is our YouTube channel, Dow Trucking Compliance. Here, we talk about everything compliance. We help you see the necessity of being compliant in your company. So if you're coming across this channel for the very first time, do well to hit the subscribe button, follow us for more videos like this, right? So today I'm going to be talking about the FMCSA and state filings that you cannot miss if you want to keep your business running. So stick with me to the end of this video. I'm going to be listing out all of these filings and we're going to be talking about the deadlines and how to meet them. So here we have FMCSA federal filings and we have state-based filings. Like I said earlier, FMCSA and your base jurisdiction expect you to meet up with some reports, right? So we are going to be distinguishing between the federal filings and the state-based filings. So we are going to start with FMCSA federal filings. Now there's something about FMCSA, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. It is tied directly to your MC and DOT numbers. So if there's one thing you wouldn't want to do is to miss any filings that has to do with FMCSA, because you will be playing with your authority, you're playing with both your MC and your DOT number. So you have to take note of these filings and then file on time. So the first we have here is the MCS 150. MCS 150. This is a biennial update. This MCS is your entire company information. It's like a summary of what your company is about. It contains the number of trucks you have, the number of drivers you have, the number of trailers you have, the states you travel through, the summary of what your business is about. So let's say there is a slight change in your business. Maybe you were 2 drivers before and then you increase your drivers to 3 drivers. You have to update your MCS 150. Let's say you had 2 trucks before and then you increase your fleet. Now you have 5 trucks. You have to update your MCS 150 because this is like a summary of what FMCSA uses to size your business, right? So usually it's a biennial update, which means that it is supposed to be filed every 2 years. Every 2 years, it's supposed to be updated every 2 years. You shouldn't miss this. But then if before the 2 years elapses, maybe you updated your MCS 150 in 2024 and the next update is supposed to be in 2026. So let's say before 2026 you added new trucks, you added trailers, you added drivers, you mustn't wait till 2026 before you update it. As long as there is a change in your business, what you do is you log on to the FMCSA site, you locate the MCS 150 and then you update your records, right? So this is usually updated every 2 years. Now you update it according to the last 2 digits of your DOT number. Let's say your DOT number is 4307900. So this is 00. Let's say 0 is not, there is no particular month under 0. So say you're updating this in January. So let's say your DOT number is 23456756112, right? This is 12. So you're updating it in December. So whatever you do, you just have to ensure that you update according to the last 2 digits of your DOT number. So that is that for the MCS 150. So the next we have is the BOC3 filing. This is the designation of processing agent for Now, this authorizes an agent in every state to receive legal papers on your behalf. This one usually comes when you get your authority. So when you are submitting documents for your authority, you have to submit this. So it's not like it has to be updated every year or every 2 years, but it has to stay current, meaning that if you change agents, you have to update the BOC3 form. But if, let's say, in 5 years, in 6 years, in 7 years, in 8 years, you're still using one agent, then there would be no need for an update of this. But you need to get this when you are applying for your authority, your MC, your DOT, and all of that. But once you have a change in agent, then you must update your BOC3. Now, we also have the UCR, the Unified Carrier Registration. This is updated every year, 31st December every year. So if let's say your business is not up to a year, maybe you got your authority in December or November 2024, and you registered with the UCR, you should know that you should update it every year, 31st of December every year. If you miss a deadline, there are always penalties attached to it, right? So this is designation of agent form, which should be updated if there is a change in an agent. And then this is your UCR, Unified Carrier Registration, which should also be updated every year, 31st of December. It will be better if you begin your updating process before 31st of December so that you can beat up the deadlines. What happens to a lot of carriers, a lot of companies, is that they would want to wait till the 31st of December before they start updating, as at that time you have a lot of companies trying to update theirs. So there is usually a rush in December. So I would advise that every carrier, every trucking company starts their UCR update from the 1st of December, right? So once you file this before the 31st of December, then you're good to go with the UCR. And then when you change your agent, you update the BOC3, then you're good to go with that as well. So next, under the FMCSA federal filings, we have the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. If you have CDL drivers, then you must be registered under the clearinghouse. How do you do that? The clearinghouse has a portal. You go to the clearinghouse, FMCSA clearinghouse, and then you open an account with the clearinghouse. You register your company. If you are an employer, for example, you open an employer account with your company name, your DOT number, and all your company's information. Drivers as well should be registered under the clearinghouse account. So let's say you're an independent driver, you are an owner operator. It doesn't mean you should not register in the clearinghouse. You should have a clearinghouse account as a driver, right? So for employers, once you open the clearinghouse account and you have CDL drivers, what you should do is that you should run queries for them. Running queries affords you the opportunity to add these drivers to your clearinghouse account. So there is a pre-employment query, there is an accident. There are different types of query. There's a pre-employment query, there is random drug test query, all the queries. But first you need to run a pre-employment query for your drivers. Once you run that query, that is why every driver must also have a clearinghouse account, because they need to give you consent from their accounts for you to be able to run a query for them, right? So you have to open your Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse account, and every time you add a driver, you need to run query on the driver, because it will be stated there that this driver is there. The driver will be there, the license number will be there, the license date will be there, everything about the driver will be in your clearinghouse account. And then you can also run a drug and alcohol test for them, right? So these are the FMCSA federal filings. Like I stated, let's run through it. The MCS 150 should be filed every 2 years, or if there's a change in your company information, maybe there's an additional truck, additional trailer, additional drivers, it should be updated. The BOC3 designation of processing agent, this should be done when you are applying for your authority or you change your agent. The Unified Carrier Registration should be updated 31st of December every year. And then the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, you should ensure to run queries on every new driver you add. So once you are able to keep a record of the deadlines for this, then you would not be having any problem with FMCSA filing. Right, so we have looked at the FMCSA federal filings. Now we want to look at the state-based filings. Now, one thing you should not do is to take one above the other. Do not think the FMCSA federal filings should be more important than your state-based filing. While the FMCSA is federal, your state has its own requirements that should be met. So while you are trying to meet up with all of FMCSA demands, you shouldn't lag behind with your state demands as well. So we are going to be looking at the state filings and their deadlines. The first we have here is IFTA. IFTA is International Fuel Tax Agreement. This is a tax payment for interstate drivers. So let's say your base jurisdiction is New Jersey, you're registered under New Jersey, but you don't just drive in New Jersey. You go to New York, you go to Massachusetts, you go to Maryland, you go to Delaware, you go to many states, you travel across up to 10-15 states. You should file your IFTA because it's an interstate fuel tax. Those states you travel through require that you pay for their road maintenance because you have your own state-based tax, but who pays for the road you use on that state? So they also require that you pay for their road that you use, and one of the ways you can do that is by a fuel tax agreement. So IFTA is filed quarterly, every quarter, and we have the first quarter, we have January, February, March. 3 months make up a quarter. So we have January, February, March, that is one quarter. We have April, May, June, that's another quarter. We have July, August, September, and then we have November, October, December. So in total you are filing for 4 quarters. If you miss out your IFTA, the more you miss it, the more you pile up penalties for yourself. There is a fine for late report, there's a fine for late payment. You pay that. Let's say you miss the first quarter, you pay a fine for late payment. You miss the second quarter, you pay a fine for late payment. If you continue like that, your IFTA license, which you must have if you are an interstate carrier, your IFTA license can get revoked actually. And if your IFTA license is revoked, it means that you're not going to be getting an IFTA decal, which you have to place on your truck. Because if you are stopped for inspection, you need to show proof that you pay fuel tax, and you show that by your IFTA decal. So if you fail to report your IFTA and then your IFTA license is revoked, you will not be able to work with an IFTA decal, and that might put you in trouble. So you have to file for this every quarter. And then we also have IRP, is the International Registration Plan. If you use a portion plate, this is for interstate drivers that use a portion plate. So if you are driving, your base jurisdiction is New Jersey, you go to other states, instead of you to change plates, I'm going to New York, let me put in a New York plate, I'm going to New Jersey, let me know, you have one plate, the apportion plate. Now the registration expires every year, so you have to renew every year, usually November every year, but it differs. So you have to track this down, the IRP, International Registration Plan. You have to file that every year. So once you get your IFTA every quarter, and then you get your IRP every year, you will not be having a problem with these two taxes. So after the IRP, the next we have is the HVUT, which is the Heavy Vehicle Use Tax. This is it, or you could call it the 2290. This is a tax for trucks that weigh 55,000 pounds and above, right? So you file this with the IRS. It has to be filed every year. 31st of August is the deadline of the HVU tax. So if you have a truck that weighs 55,000 pounds and above, you have to file this with the IRS every year. And then lastly, we have state-specific permits. This is it is state-specific. So whichever your base jurisdiction is, like for New York, we have the highway use tax. For Kentucky, we have the KYU. So whichever permit is specific to your state, you need to know them, and you need to know when to file them. Like the HUT is filed quarterly with the IFTA as well. So after you've done your HVUT, you do this state-specific tax. You have to know which tax, which permit is specific to your state. IFTA is a general permit for interstate carriers, but this state-specific permit are peculiar to states. If I operate in New York, I should know that I have to pay my highway use tax. If I operate in Kentucky, I should know that I have to pay my KYU. So know your state and know the tax that. So that is the big picture, right? Once you know what to file, when to file, and where to file, then compliance is way easy. What I will always advise is that you have a checklist for these taxes. you should write them down, write down their deadlines. If possible, set up a reminder, or if you have a compliance team, have them set up a reminder for each and every one of these reports. So if IFTA ends by March 31st, for example, set a reminder, have a checklist: IFTA 31st March 2025, HUT 31st March 2025, IRP 31st November 2025. You should set up checklists like that. It will help you stay compliant. Sometimes a lot of carriers get so busy that they do not know when some of these deadlines elapse. If you fall into this category, you don't have to worry about that. That is why we are here to help you. We help truckers, we help carriers, we help drivers, we help owner operators stay compliant with these filings, whether it has to do with FMCSA or it has to do with your state-based filings. We help you handle all of it. So if you are so busy driving that you do not have time to track all of these deadlines, you could give us a call. Would help you track the deadlines. So compliance isn't so easy. The problem is that a lot of carriers are too busy to pay attention to compliance, and it's completely fine. That is why we are here to help you. So do well to reach out to us anytime to help you handle your compliance. We could give you a one-on-one session about compliance. We could help you build a checklist, and we help you track all your filings so that you don't get in trouble with FMCSA and you don't get in trouble with your state, right? I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe to this YouTube channel. This is Dow Transportation and Dispatch, and this is our YouTube channel, Dow Trucking Compliance, where we talk about everything compliance. We treat compliance topics, and we ensure that you don't get into trouble, you don't get your authority suspended, or you don't get out of business. So thank you for staying with me. See you in the next video.